Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Multimedia Basic Tutorials. One of the basic tutorials that we're going to be learning today is how to crop a photo. And cropping is a very essential tool and an essential process that we experience in multimedia. And we do it in every single piece of work that we do, whether it is building a display board and putting the visuals on that board and figuring out where things are going to be spaced out, whether we're doing a yearbook page, a variety of different things we're going to be using this aspect of cropping. And it's really important that we do a good job at cropping because it really puts a better visual for the audience to see and the general public to look at a nice clean image. And so we really want to make sure when we're doing things that we take our time and we're very patient with our cropping skills. And again, if we screw up, we can always go back and then retry and keep doing it over and over until we get it to the way that we want to look. But again, cropping really enhances our artwork that we're trying to perform on a digital screen or a digital print. And so let's take a look at how we're going to go about doing that. In order to do a cropping of a picture, you first have to have a picture. And so as you look here on our multimedia website, you're going to see that we are going to get most of our pictures from either the internet or else we're going to get it from the Google Drive, because a lot of our work is going to be done with stuff that are pictures that we take within the school in the school year. And so we have our Google Drive for the most current year is always going to be at the top. And then if you ever need to go back to previous academic school years, you just have to go on the bottom and it will have the Google Drive for those photos. So we're going to take a look here. We're going to go into this Google Doc folder. And it's going to have a variety of different subfolders of different events that take place throughout the school year. So it could be band, it could be boys basketball, Catholic Schools Week. But we need to find a picture in whatever event that we're looking at. And so for this example, we're going to be looking at trap shooting. And so you're going to open up the trap shooting folder. And within this folder, you're going to have a variety of pictures that you have access to that you can pick and choose which ones you want to use. Some of them you might want to just use as a full picture, but some of them are pictures that you might want to be like, you know what, this looks like a really good crop picture that we could put in the corner of our yearbook page or in the corner of a promotional piece that you are working on. And so one of the pictures we're going to be looking at is, I want to use this one as my example of Chloe. Chloe Shatterton is basically going to be, or excuse me, it's not this image. I want to have her full body. So I think it's this one. It's her full body here, and we want to look at cropping her and maybe putting her into a corner piece in our yearbook page. And so once you have this picture, what you can do is you can download the file. So you're going to have this download button. You'll download it, and that's going to go directly to your downloads. So if I take this, I'm going to minimize this and shrink it so I can show you where my downloads are. So I have my downloads, and it will have the image that I just downloaded that I want to use. For me, I like to put the image onto my desktop just because I know those are the things that I'm working on. And then once I'm done with it, then I can put it where it needs to go. If you feel more comfortable just keeping it in your downloads or wherever you have your organization, that's fine too. But for convenient purposes, I'm going to put it over here on the desktop so you can see where we're working with it. Once you open it, I usually tell students if you're going to open up the file, you could sit here and just crop it right from this view, but I always tell students, you know what, we want to be more precise, so making it bigger actually helps you because you can see where things are transitioning from background to the image that you're looking at. So I'm going to make it larger, and again, you can always zoom in on the image to make it even closer up so you can actually see where you're going to be cropping and to make sure that you are actually getting the pieces that you want. Again, the more detailed you are, the better it's going to turn out in the long run. So once you scroll up to the top, you'll see the hidden toolbar, and we want to look at these different features. And there's a lot of different features that we can look at, but I want to show you the cropping tools that you're going to be using. So if you click on this markup toolbar, it's going to open up another toolbar underneath it. And so this one's going to have a variety of things that you can do. Some of them are inserting text, some of them are adding shapes and that kind of stuff. But the one that we're really concerned about at this point is cropping. So it's these selection tools. You also have an Insta Alpha tool. Insta Alpha tools work very well with pictures that have a definite border between their background and the image itself, where it's a defined lines. Like cartoon art is really good to use Insta Alpha. Basically, what happens if you click on this, you can actually take a piece and you can start. See, it bleeds in a lot, but you can take this and it's going to go to kind of these areas and it's going to say that's kind of where these things are different. And you can see like right down here, they have a shadow. So it's looking at it as two different things and it's saying we're going to crop this and this. So if we were to press delete and you want to convert it to a PNG files are always the cropped files. If you convert that, you're going to see it's going to take out some of these pieces. So everything in black is what's going to be transparent and you're not going to see. So again, it doesn't really do the job here. And if you do Command Z, it will bring you back to what you did. So Insta Alpha doesn't really work the best in these situations. You have these tools, which we'll be using. You have a rectangle selection. You have a spherical or elliptical selection. Basically what those do, so if I click on the rectangle, is basically your cropping tools. You can figure out where you want it to be, something like this, and then you can press delete and convert. Oops, excuse me. We're not cropping that. We got to crop it the other way. So you got to go like this, make your selection, and then you press crop, not delete. So you can crop that, and then that's going to then just give us our image where we want it to be. So we get rid of all this excess background. Okay, so that's what a rectangle will do. The sphere will do the same thing. It'll make a sphere around the parts that you want. So again, we're not really interested in that component yet. You have a lasso selection, and that's what we're really interested in. Okay, the lasso selection lets us actually draw and pinpoint specific pieces that we want to cut off and delete. Okay, to make our crop a little more elegant. So what you're going to do is you're going to zoom in, and like I tell everyone, is you're going to be in nice and close so you can see exactly where you're going to crop. And you're just going to pick a point, and you're going to then just trace an outline. And it's better to be more on the individual than the background because you want to make sure you don't have a lot of background showing. And I'm just going to do this for convenient purposes so you can see what I mean. And you want to be as close as you can. Okay, and then you're going to pick a spot. You're going to be doing chunks at a time. So maybe this is where I want to stop, and I'm going to then just come out, and I'm going to come around, and it's okay. You can go way off the screen here, and then once you get to a point like here, you can actually let go, and it's going to bring you right back to the starting spot. Okay, once you do that, you can press delete and convert to a PNG. Yes. It's going to only ask you that once you do it. And then after that, it won't keep asking you that message. And so the reason I did this little piece right here is, as you can see, is when you do a cropping job, you want to make sure that you don't get any of this background because then you're going to have that green is going to show up on your yearbook page or whatever piece of digital art that you're doing, and you don't want that. So what you're going to do is you're going to do this piece again. And again, it's better to go closer and cut off a little more of the hair because they won't notice that. And come around, and even right here, I can now let go, and it's going to draw a straight line right back to my starting point. Press delete, and that smooths it out, so it actually looks a lot better now. All right, and then you're going to keep doing that. Like I said, do some of these other pieces, and then delete. And kind of what I tell people is that just kind of pick a spot and kind of work your way around the individual. So I'm going to start here, kind of work around this way, come back, and then you'll end up over on this side. But yeah, I just kind of take little pieces at a time. And like I said, when you look at it, you can delete that. Her nose, you might have made her a little too pointy. Again, you can try and clean that up a little and remove sections. And again, maybe that's what you want. Maybe it's not what you want. But again, you can kind of clean those up so you don't have such straight edges. Another technique that I show people is they get to like a straight edge. So this is a very straight piece right here. So what they start to do is they kind of go like this, and then you'll find out that you're kind of wavy, okay? On clothing, it doesn't matter as much because the clothing is kind of wavy as it is, but like these pieces, it's kind of a little more tricky in the sense that it's going to be really wavy, and when we put that on your yearbook page, it'll be noticeable, okay? So what you want to do, I'm going to press Command Z to bring that back. When you're dealing with straight edges that are something that is definitely something that is straight, what I tend to do is take a point. So start here, and I actually go backwards. I go up and around, and then I find another point that I want, like here, and then I let go, and as you can see, it's going to make a straight line going all the way across, because that's going to always be a straight edge. And so then you can delete that, and now you have a nice straight edge. And again, you can do the same thing down here. Go around, find that end of the barrel, let go, and then again, you have a nice straight edge. Okay, so again, it does take a little time to go through this process, but you really want to make sure that you are cropping it and you're not getting any of that background, because we don't want to have any of that background. It's okay to actually cut off a little more of the skin than it is to have a little bit of the background in there, because again, the average person will not notice any of those small, minute details. And again, feel free to go around, and maybe you want to do that part a little more cleaner. You can take your time, delete that piece, and then now you can focus on just this piece inside. But it does not have to be something all done in one big chunk, because I'd rather have you take your time and crop out these things to make them look good. And then the other piece where you'll have a tendency, because you'll be zoomed in. So this is one piece, like people will be like, okay, I'm going to crop down here. And as you can see, the shoe doesn't show yet. But if I start cropping, sometimes you'll go down here and then you can't see, and all of a sudden it does that. Okay? The bad thing about that, all of the stuff that has been cropped in her shoe, I can't go back. So if I let go and I press delete, it's going to cut off pieces of her shoe. So I have to actually redo this whole piece. And if you press Command Z, it's going to go all the way to the last thing that you did. So again, when you do these, it's better to go until you can't see the screen, and then just to stop here and then bail out and then crop that piece and then move your image down and then crop it that way. So I'm going to crop the rest of this, and then I'll show you what we're going to be doing for our next step. All right, so we are almost finished here. We just have this last little piece to do. So we just got to, again, finish this. And once this is completed, what you're going to do is you're going to zoom out. And again, we might have a little more things right here that I want to clean up. There we go. All right, so you're going to zoom out when you are finished, okay? So basically you did all the hard work. Now what we have to do is we got to get rid of this background. And so by going out and making all of these pieces right here, you can actually crop this pretty simply. What you'll do is you'll click somewhere in the black, and you're going to then just go around and then just kind of outline this individual, because you did all the intricate work at the beginning here and did all the tedious stuff. Now it's just a matter of going and outlining her and doing something like this. And then when you're done, you can press let go. And then you go up here and then you press crop. Okay? And it's going to get rid of the entire background. It's going to only leave Chloe there, all the pieces that we cropped out of her. So it's going to look like this. Okay? Now, this is where people stop. Okay? So they get to this point and they go File, Save. Okay? And again, I'm going to show you why we don't want to do this. You don't want to just be all done at this point and say File, Save. So then they'll close out of it, and we'll have an image here of Chloe. The problem is, when we look at it, it's not cropped the way that we want to. We actually have to make sure that Chloe she's going to be very small. So when we upload her into the yearbook page, she's going to have all of this extra space all around her. So what we have to do is we actually have to click on this crop button, and we're going to take this rectangle and we're going to go exactly right around her. So this will give us the exact dimensions that we want. And again, where you put this, that's exactly where it's going to be. If you leave a lot of excess down here, well, you're going to have a lot of excess space on the yearbook page. So we want to make sure that the final thing we do is just make sure it's as close to each side of her as possible. And then we can press the crop button. Okay? Then you can save, because this will look a lot better in the yearbook page or whatever piece of work that you're doing when it comes to moving your individual component that you just got finished cropping. So now that we have this individual and we have her finally saved, what we're going to do is we're going to upload it onto the yearbook page or whatever piece that you're going to be looking at. For our example, we're going to put it on the yearbook page. So to go to the yearbook page, again, you go to the Jostens Yearbook website. This is the job number, if you need to enter that in. This is your username. It's a capital first letter of your first name, followed by a lowercase of your last name. So, for example, if my name is Brent Zabel, my password or my username would be a capital B, then Zabel, all lowercase. And then the password is always Multimedia, and then it's 1819 for this yearbook. Next year it could be very different, so that will be given to you and it'll be updated. It'll probably be 1920 for next year. But again, just always double check here to find out what the actual password is for that yearbook's year. But you click on the Jostens Yearbook site, and once you get into here, you'll be assigned a page. So I'm going to show you how you get to that page. But basically, you just have to go to Create, and then you go to Page Ladder, and you're going to find your page. And so this is page 75, and again, you will know that. I will always tell you what page you're actually working on. And over here it says there's no deadlines. It doesn't have a section number. That will be given to you as well. This is just a brand new yearbook, so it doesn't show all that. But I did put over here, this will be a trap shooting page. So again, you'll say the section. It will say trap shooting. And it will then have whoever's assigned to it. Maybe Emily was assigned to it, and I'll just put myself as assigned to this yearbook page. So it will have everything that you need to know what the page is, who's assigned it, deadlines, all that kind of stuff. So once you click on this, it'll ask you to leave, and that's fine. You're going to be leaving, and then it will bring up your yearbook page. Once you're onto the page, and again, it's page 75, so this is our one page that we're going to be dealing with. What you have to do is you have to take that image that you cropped and you have to upload it to the Jostens website. So you're going to click on Images. Now, it's really important that you organize your images because there might be someone else that needs to get into the file and they might need to be using your images. And the more organized we are, the easier it's going to be. So if we take a look here, we have academics, okay? This isn't an academic picture. This is a sports picture. So when we go to sports, again, I already made one of the folders, but there'll be several folders. Just make sure that you're putting it in the right folder. But right now we have a trap shooting folder. There will be a basketball folder. There'll be a volleyball folder. There'll be a Faribault co-op folder, but there'll be a variety of folders. Just make sure whatever image you're dealing with is in the correct folder. So you go to trap shooting, and you're going to find out that there's no images in here. So we're going to add an image. So you're going to go to upload, and it's going to say add a file. And you already did all the hard work now. Now it's just a matter of finding where you had that picture. That's why I like things on my desktop, because it seems to be easier that way. You go to the desktop, and this is the image that we cropped. And so now I can open that image, and it's going to go through this process of processing it, getting it all ready, prepared in the right format, so then we can use it. And then you click on Add File, or excuse me, Done Uploading. You can add more files if there were more. So we're going to click on Done Uploading, and here is now that image that we have of Chloe. And as you can see, it's exactly how we cropped it. And the nice thing is when we make this larger, it's going to stay that same format. So now we can actually put Chloe wherever we want. So if we want to put her right here, we can put her right in this corner. Okay. if we want to take this and we want to format her differently, we can definitely do that. We can rotate her. You can switch her to a different side, even though it might look a little different because of the way she is shooting. But you can manipulate her how you want her to fit on your yearbook page. But that's basically how you go about cropping a picture. And again, the better we do at cropping and it looks cleaner, it makes your yearbook page look a lot better. So again, you want to make sure you're taking your time on that. And then the very last thing, I'm going to save this really quick. Always get in the habit of clicking the save button. Okay, so you always want to save it so then your work is always being saved. The other thing that you can do, and I'll go over these techniques in class as well, but kind of play around with this. Another thing you can do with this person is you can actually go to effects and you can have drop down shadows. You can have a black shadow and you can see that there's going to be a shadow around her. So that adds a little more effect to it. You can manipulate this drop down shadow. You can have it blur more or less. You can have the distance. You can have it go out further. You can have it come closer. You can change the opacity so it's maybe really dark or not as dark. Let's see. You can have the strength of it be stronger or weaker. But again, there's a variety of things that you can do with the image that you now cropped. You can put different glows on it. So we could have maybe a reddish glow to it. Okay. You could enhance that. You could bring it down. But there's a lot of different effects that you can do this image once it is done. So again, I encourage you to kind of play with things, be creative. Don't just keep things always the same way. Try new things. The more you try, the better things will be. You might find things that work or some things that don't work, but again, it's a learning process and you have to make mistakes in order to figure out what works well and what doesn't work well. And then the last thing that we have to do, I'm going to save this one more time, but the last thing that we have to do is go back to our trap shooting folder. And as you can see, we have all these great pictures, but we need to then take this folder or this image that we made and you need to upload it. So you got to drag and drop it into here because someone might want to use that picture down the road and they might want to, after you delete it, they might want to use it for something else. Maybe they're making a trap shooting meeting poster and they want to use that as one of their images. So we want to make sure that we put our work back into the Google folder so then someone else then can use it for their purposes. And as you can see, her picture is going to be right here. So if I were to re-download this, it's already cropped and it's already finished, ready to go. Now that all that has been done, it's been uploaded to the yearbook page, it's been uploaded to the Google folder, you can then now take this cropped picture and you may delete it. All right, so that is a basic tutorial on how we're going to be cropping in multimedia. And again, it is a very vital and very important skill to know because we do it in almost every facet of multimedia and any type of design that we're looking at when we're looking at digital files. All right, that concludes our lesson on cropping full pictures for multimedia. Until next time, keep working hard.